Watch me on Kick, dude. What are you doing? By God. Let's get this party started, oh son. You let me get done with this T-ball and eating, by George, I'll be on. All right then, oh son. So fellas, YouTube sent me a thing. They said that the best thing for the content that we could be watching is like unsolved mysteries, strange occurrences, like, you know, cryptics, dark history, you know, just stuff like that, dude. They sent me like this thing, man, and it basically implied like, hey, if you start doing this, we're gonna really start recommending your channel. And I'm like, oh hell yeah, because I think they finally built the profile. Hey Pookie, what's going on, brother? Come on. But yeah, that's what they sent me, dude, and that's really cool. You know, the profile is almost built there, boys. They said try it for the next 30 days. Oh my God, that scared the shit out of me. I have it turned down for the chat, but that shit was loud in my ears, though, son. I appreciate the 100 kicks, Bubby. That's what I'm talking about. It's called love. And I'm feeling it. It was a full send. Hell yeah. Wife's birthday, so I won't be very present. Well, tell her I said happy birthday. I also got some bad news today at the doctor. I love you too. I have developed high blood pressure. Doctor said my shit was like 183 over 88. And, so I've got to make some, so I've got to make some life changes here, boys. That's the only part that ain't cool. Damn, at least it wasn't something serious like cooties. Yeah, I know. I just noticed that I ain't really felt good. I also have flu B right now. Apparently. Maybe that's why I don't feel good. But I just knew that I hadn't felt good. When they was like checking me out, they was like, yeah, you got flu B. Also, you know, your blood pressure is like real high. I was like, oh my God. what am I supposed to do? And they was like, well, we're gonna make some changes, oh son. Everything's gonna be all right. And I was like, all right then. So the cigarettes and energy drinks got to go. This was me, him, and Campbell 5 minutes ago. Not gonna lie. Yeah. But the cigarettes, lying motherfucker. I miss y'all. We miss you, oh son. But the cigarettes and energy drinks got to go, boys. Because if not, Papa's finna die. if I don't get it together, dude. Might have a damn heart attack or a stroke. I promise I won't be so busy again here in about 3 days. So you're going to be busy up until... Like, you're going to be busy for the next 3 days? Or you're not going to be busy for 3 days? Hey, yo! What's going on, though, son? I was just telling the boys that the doctor told me that I got high blood pressure and I'm gonna die if I don't if I don't quit smoking cigarettes and drinking energy drinks. Tragic. Guess what, boys? Did you get your house? You moving in? You moving in? Spit it out. I get to move in tomorrow. That's what I'm talking about. Hell yeah. And like I was also telling chat too in the beginning, Squanchy, I don't know if you was in here for this, but YouTube sent me a thing saying that like, hey, based off your channel, because you know, like they almost have the profile built on me. Based off your channel, what you need to be watching is like unsolved mysteries, dark history, like creepy cryptic videos. I mean, basically kind of like the same stuff that we already watch in a way. But they said that we need to lean into that. And that's what we just need to just keep doing. And we need to try that for the next 30 days. And basically they said that if I did that, they're going to like recommend the shit out of the channel. And that's really cool, dude. I'm looking forward to that. I know I won't be on Saturday. Wife's wanting to go out on the town and get tore out the frame. Damn, I couldn't spit it out. Congratulations on your home, Bubby. Make sure that you put a lot of love and effort into that thing, especially because, you know, if you plan to be there forever and don't ever sell it, then nothing you ever do will be a waste of time with that house. You know what I mean? Sounds like fun. Hell yeah. Trying to think of what else here I was going to tell y'all, because I had some other shit to say too, but I can't remember what it is right now. Must not have been that important. Damn it. I just completely drew a blank there. Also, I hate to hear about your blood pressure. I'm glad you're okay. Oh, I'll be fine, dude. Doctor's gonna give me some nicotine patches. So they're gonna start me on this like diet thing, and like also give me some nicotine patches and teach me some exercises to help me from getting so like uncontrollably infuriated when I don't have cigarettes. Keep me from wigging out and acting stupid in situations that it ain't no call for it. It's also talking to me about maybe wanting to put me on medication too that make me stop me from being so mad all the time. I am, dude. I'm like I struggle with constantly being mad. Like I can kind of feel like anger in me right now, but I've always been like that ever since I was a kid, and I don't know what it is because there's not really anything to be mad about, and that's kind of what I tell myself all the time. I'm like, I'm not really mad. It's just like a kind of like a default feeling, and they tell me that that's not good for my blood pressure. So, it's just one of them things. You know what I mean? That's just got to be figured out. But I'm good, dude. I'm gonna be alright. I am excited though about this this whole YouTube thing, dude. That's really cool. We're about to get somewheres on there, boys. Ball out. Speaking of which, whoosh, I do have this video. I don't know if you guys would be interested in it or not, but it seems interesting to me. That's what I'm gonna say about it. That like whenever I've seen it, I was like, yeah, dude, this is. Y'all best be sharing the YouTube around, fellas. Yeah, how come nobody do that shit? Hold on here. Whoosh. And how come don't nobody ever share any of the YouTube videos? Or like send the YouTube channel to nobody? What the hell? So that, as far as they're concerned, that motherfucker don't exist. Their home is kick. And winter's gonna start kicking y'all right in your ashes if somebody don't start doing that. All right. Check this video out. It's called The Unsolved Case of the Man Who Didn't Exist. Lock in.
On June 12, 2009, a man checked into the Sligo City Hotel in Sligo, Ireland. Under the name Peter Bergman, he claimed to be from Austria and provided papers saying as much. The man was then found 4 days later, deceased on the rocks at Ross's Point Beach. The investigation that would go on to occur would leave the police and the nearby residents of Sligo confused and looking for answers for years to come. Because in that investigation, it would be proven that this Peter Bergman was not who he claimed to be, or rather, he wasn't anyone. The
I don't know if anybody in here believes in time travel or not, but every time I see an occurrence like this, like this right here with Mr. Peter Bergman, every time I see an occurrence like this, my first assumption is this dude was a time traveler, fucking around and died in our time period. And the reason why his DNA doesn't exist in the database is because he's not supposed to be here. You know, I don't know if that's a ridiculous assumption or what, but like, my mind always goes to like more than what it actually is, which, you know, I mean, it does seem awfully strange that this gentleman's DNA was not in any database, so he basically didn't exist. That's very weird. But yeah, I always just assume it's a time traveler. I don't know.
Final 4 days of his life were caught on CCTV footage showing him meticulously dumping his belongings, walking around the hotel, and exploring Sligo, almost as a ghost amongst humans. Was this the story of a terminally ill man who wanted to end his life on his own terms? Was this unidentified man the missing founder of Bitcoin? Or is there something even more nefarious beneath the surface? This is the depressing, unsolved mystery of the man who didn't exist, Peter Bergman. Truly, this is such a strange case. I really think you're going to enjoy it, and my entire perception and belief of what actually happened in this case changed. But I do hope you enjoy. Grab a bucket of popcorn, grab a Dr. Pepper, sit back and relax, and enjoy the show.
Don't do that. Grab a can of potted meat and an RC Cola, and then we're going to sit back and enjoy the show. Make sure you bring some crackers with you, too.
Every single year, an estimated 8 million people are reported missing around the globe. Now, some of these disappearances can be explained with logic and reasoning. Some people might be kidnapped, some people sadly might be trafficked, some people disappear on their own accord. But other cases, like the man in today's video, are unexplainable. They have no grounding in reality, and even today, with our modern technology, we still can't decide who this man was, where he came from, and how he ended up on the beach. But in order to make sense of any of it, we have to start back at the beginning and tell the story leading up to his death. What makes this case so unique is that his entire whereabouts were captured on footage on security camera the last 4 days that he was alive. Yet, even though there is footage of literally 80% of the things he does, that 20% that's not under...
Yeah, but if like he gave all of his like proper documentation stating that he was this man like Peter Bergman, and he gave like his identification, he gave his passport, he gave his, you know, credit card, he gave this, he gave that. Couldn't they just trace all that shit back to his residence of like where it was that he claimed that he lived? Like his address, and then figure out from neighbors and stuff who this person actually was, or try to find like next of kin, or see if his DNA matched with anyone else within like the database or something, and be like, hey, who is this gentleman? Do you know him? I feel like there was more that could have been done to discover who Peter Bergman was.
The footage makes the mystery that much more unexplainable. This man, calling himself Peter Bergman, checked into the Sligo City Hotel on the afternoon of June 12, 2009. Earlier in that same day, he was spotted at the Ulster bus station. At the station, he was wearing a black shoulder bag and a small carry-on bag, and after boarding the bus for Sligo and arriving there, he then took a taxi to the hotel he checked into. Upon approaching the desk, he paid for his stay in cash, and he gave the clerk the name Peter Bergman. The address he provided was this. I'm not going to try to pronounce it, I don't want to butcher it. And he claimed this address was from Vienna, Austria. However, as you heard from the intro of this video, it would go on to be discovered that every single detail that I just told to you and that he told to the clerk was false. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. As seen in the CCTV footage, the man was not trying to be secretive on the surface. He was witnessed by many people inside the hotel and around other areas in the city, and he was reported by those people to be around 5 foot 10 inches tall, skinny, with trimmed gray hair, bluish eyes, and a tannish complexion. Most eyewitnesses claimed that he looked to be in his late 50s to early 60s, so an old dude. During his stay at this hotel, he conversed and kind of chatted with other people that were staying there, and those people would later come forward and claim that the man had a very thick German accent.
What if he was in like some kind of like witness protection? I wonder if he was in like witness protection, and that's what was going on with him. I don't know. It's kind of weird to me.
By all accounts, to everyone who was looking on, this unidentified man seemed to be dressed like a well-groomed businessman. He wasn't a vagabond, he wasn't a drifter, he had a tailored suit, a nice haircut, and he wasn't off-putting. And at the time, nothing really seemed odd. He arrived to the hotel on the 12th of June, and the next day, on the 13th, he was captured walking into the Sligo post office at 10:49 a.m. Whilst inside the post office, he purchased 8 82-cent stamps as well as airmail stickers. The reason for these purchases is unknown. The next day, on Sunday, June 14th, the man walked outside of the hotel and he hailed a taxi. Once inside the taxi, he was discussing with the driver about beaches in the area, specifically beaches where he could go swimming at. He named off a few, but the driver said that he knew a place and that he would take him there and show this man where it was. The beach the driver had in mind is known as Ross's Point Beach. The taxi driver then drove the man to the beach. They looked at it, he hopped back in the taxi, and then the taxi driver drove the man back to the bus terminal. Throughout this entire duration and the entire stay at the hotel, every single day, several times a day, the man was captured on footage walking out of the hotel room and out of the building with a purple bag in his hand. The man would leave the hotel with this bag full of items and then come back and the bag wasn't in his hand. He had slipped it into his pocket. This would go on to occur multiple times every single day to the point where the clerks at the hotel would start to notice. And every day like clockwork, he would walk outside the hotel with that bag full of stuff and he would return with no bag visible.
That boy was making some drops. He was doing some shit he wasn't supposed to be doing. Something was definitely wrong, dude. I don't know. I don't know what to make of old dude. I'm sitting over trying to assess the situation, and it seems like he's either a time traveler, he's in witness protection, or he's affiliated with some scary, scary gentleman. And yeah, he's doing some shady. And I'm just like I said, I'm just trying to assess the situation. I can't really figure out what's going on with him. I feel like I'm as confused and dumbfounded as law enforcement was whenever they was reviewing all this footage and was like, what the hell is he doing?
The next day on June 15th, the man walked into the hotel lobby and asked if he could check out later in the day, claiming he had some errands to run first. The clerk thought nothing of that because sometimes people would ask for later stays if their bus was delayed or their train was delayed, so again, no red flags. On this last day, right after he asked for a late checkout, the man walked to his room. And then again, just like every single other day, the man walked back out of his hotel room and back out of the hotel with a purple bag filled to the brim with items. It's thought that what this man was doing was getting rid of his personal items, his last vestiges of himself, and he was taking individual pieces of it in this bag every single day and going out to the parts of the city that aren't on footage and dumping them somewhere. After this final time where he walked out of the hotel with this really full purple bag, he returned, again with no bag, and went to his room to get his belongings. He eventually came back down to the lobby and checked out at the front desk, this time with a few different items. On his person, he was carrying a shoulder bag, the same one that he was seen wearing at the bus station. That purple plastic bag was also in his hands, and now a different, smaller suitcase was in his hands. This bag was not seen at the bus station or at the hotel, ever. He then left the hotel and walked over into the direction of the bus station. He stopped along the way at a shopping center called the Quayside Store, and he was caught on camera kind of just standing there in the doorway of the shopping center. After several minutes of standing here, he then walked out of the shopping center and again walked towards the bus terminal.
Dude, this old man's got some weird shit going on. Okay, I'm not judging anybody. I'm not one of them people that, you know, I mean, that judge. But it is, what is that? Yeah, it is very, very hard to try to figure out what angle this old man's coming from. And he might not even be coming from an angle. He might have just died. But I'm just saying, man.
At 1:38 p.m., he got to the bus station and he ordered a cappuccino and a toasted ham and cheese sandwich. However, at the time between him leaving that shopping center and arriving at the bus terminal, he disposed of one of his bags somewhere. He was missing a bag, and no cameras picked it up. While he's in this little cafe at the bus station eating his food, he pulled out a couple pieces of paper from his pocket and he began to read them and scribble or write on them. Once he got done eating and drinking, he got it from the table, he tore the paper in half, and then he put it in the garbage bin right there. At this point, he boarded a bus heading to Ross's Point Beach. So, to catch you up to speed and to make sure you're not...
I hope that they found that piece of paper that he ripped up. Because it's got something to do with something. If he's sitting there and he's reading through all these pieces of paper and he rips one all to hell or rips them all to hell and he throws them away, it's got something to do with something. There's a reason why, like, those papers have to mean something. They had something on there. And he's doing something shady. Or he's intertwined with some shady people, or he don't belong here, or he's in witness protection and somebody found his ass because he was just being too, like, out there. You know what I mean? I don't know. But I hope that they found those pieces of paper.
Missing anything in this case. This man arrived at a hotel, gave a fake name, a fake identity, and said he was from a fake place. He then checked into the hotel room and would leave periodically every single day, multiple times a day, with a bag full of stuff, and he would return with nothing in the bag. On his final day of staying there, he did it again, and then he left the hotel with a bag that he didn't come to the hotel with, only to walk to the train station and kind of aimlessly walk around the town, as you can see from the footage, arrive at the train station, drink a coffee, get a snack, and pull out a piece of paper, only to write on it and then throw it away. All of these moves that this man was making were either nonsensical or so well thought out that they appear to be nonsensical. Before I continue with this video, I want to tell you about today's sponsor. Gets to the airports or data person usually helps you get past these restrictions. Country out PIA VP prescription Mac OS with a personal as advice as well as in the pinned comment, and they are offering yourself get some low. Thank you to PIA VPN for sponsoring this video, and let's get back to it.
What if he's from a multiverse and that's why he has a name and is from a place that can't be found? You are undeafened in Discord? No, I'm not, dude. Dude, if he was from a multiverse, that, I mean, like I said, dude, that would make sense. If he was from like a different universe, or if he was like a time traveler or like any of that type of shit, that would make, I mean, that would make a lot of sense. That's why they can't find him in anything. Like, and it's like he never existed, dude. But somebody knew he was here. Somebody knew he was here and didn't want him here. I'm just trying to get to the point to figure out how it was that he died. Like, if it's ruled off as a homicide, okay, yeah, he was doing some shady shit, he was in some kind of witness protection, or somebody knew he was here. If he just died abruptly, and there's like no kind of like markings, no nothing on him that like showcases any of that shit, the man was a time traveler, or he was from a multiverse and just so happened to die in our universe. And if he was a time traveler, hypothetically, if he was a time traveler, he's dropping off shit to somebody. He's giving something to somebody that's going to help aid them in the future. I don't know. Mind running 1,000,000 miles a minute, oh son.
Throughout the investigation of this man's disappearance and trying to solve who he was, the police around the area said that he knew what he was doing, because the way he walked, the way he explored the city, the way he kind of moved around hinted to the fact that he knew how to avoid cameras and he knew how to not get caught on them. And he did just this whenever he wanted to, and at this point in the story, he's now headed to Ross's Point Beach. The next time he was seen was on the beach by a few witnesses that evening. Several people saw him standing there because he looked out of place. He was dressed in black dress attire and was bare feet on a beach, which is usually not what you go to the beach with. He had a newspaper under his arms and his bags on him. A couple friends saw him standing in ankle-deep water, kind of just staring into the sunset right in front of him, as if he was trying to soak up the final moments of the sun. 30 minutes later, another couple of people saw him standing a little bit further out in the water, once again, standing in the direct path of a low-setting sun. A direct ray covered his entire body, and he was simply standing and staring out into the ocean at this sun. This is the last confirmed time that the man was seen alive. The next morning, on June 16th, a father and his son were walking on the beach because the sun...
That's fucking creepy. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that now. That is creepy.
...was preparing for a triathlon, and they stumbled upon the body of Peter Bergman. He was laying there lifeless on the rocks of the beach, and it was immediately assumed that he had drowned. However, this is just the beginning of the case, and the strange oddities have only peeked through slightly. The investigation and then his post-mortem autopsy would throw the investigators for a loop and would confuse the entire world. The man's body was taken in and examined. He was wearing striped swimming shorts, underwear, and had a dark blue shirt tucked into them. The man had no wallet, no money, no ID, or anything that would indicate who he was or where he came from. The bags and the newspaper that he was holding earlier from eyewitnesses were not there. Upon further investigation of the clothes that the man was wearing, it was discovered that all of the tags on the clothes were cut off, meaning that they were untraceable and you couldn't even see where he got the clothes from. Initial reports, like I said, assumed that the man had drowned. If you see a body washed up on the beach, that's your first thought. But after the Sligo medical examiner got a hold of the body, he concluded that there was no evidence to support a typical saltwater drowning. So there was no evidence of drowning, and as well, there was no evidence of foul play, homicide, or even suicide. The man was just not alive anymore. Even further investigation led to more startling discoveries. The man's teeth were in good shape, showing signs of regular dental work throughout his entire life. He even had a full gold tooth on the back right side of his mouth. But what was more interesting is what's deeper inside of his body. Analysis showed that the man was in terrible health. He had signs of advanced prostate cancer, as well as signs of heart disease. These cancers and sicknesses were so bad that his bones were developing tumors. Essentially, he was a dying man waiting for it to happen. The examiner said that the man would have been in excruciating pain from the bone tumors and the cancers and would have been on medication for it. But
y'all think he's just a guy that just knew he was going to die? Like, I don't know how he would pick out the exact time that he was going to die and know for a fact that that was the time that he was going to die. But the man died. You know what I mean? And like did it in a way that he wanted to do it. He went and watched he'd seen the ocean, went and watched the sunset, and then died. I just don't understand why he would go to like a totally different country, lie about who he is, all this other crazy shit, and then die in a different country. Like that, none of it makes any kind of sense whatsoever. But as far as him lying about who he was, it kind of makes me wonder if he did that deliberately because he didn't want his family to know that he died. Like maybe he didn't want his wife to know he died, or maybe he didn't want his kids to know that he died, or his grandkids to know that he died. And he went out, deliberately lied about who he was, never told any of his family about any of the medical problems, and then just died. You know, maybe the doctor was like, "Oh, you're going to die at this time." And he was like, and then picked the day and then went and did what he had to do. I don't know, dude. It's very weird, very strange, very, very confunding.
When a toxology report came out, there was no medicine in his system at all, meaning that the man was just suffering. Despite thorough investigation, no cause of death could be determined. But I want to paint you a picture of what this man might have been going through. He was in undescribable amounts of pain. He had prostate cancer, heart disease, and was growing bone tumors. He left his life from wherever he was, and he came here to end it all on his own terms. So there he sat, watching one final sunset on the beach in a beautiful country as the waves lapped up on the shore around him. And as he stood there, he knew that he would finally be at peace after years of suffering. And he chose dying alone, watching the sunset over gasping for air in a hospital bed. To this day, the man remains.
I'm going to throw y'all for a loop here. This is just a theory. The man had a golden tooth. Maybe he was well off. What if he was one of those guys that you hear stories about that had sold his soul to the devil? Because like when you hear those stories that, you know, the devil always tells them like they always know when he's about to get them, because like he gets closer and closer and closer. It's like one of them like folklore type stories. Or what if he knew he was coming, dude? And, you know, they told him the day and the time and the hour that he was coming. And it's like, you know, right after the sunset or whatever, you coming with me. And then so he went somewhere, watched a final sunset, and then got. As horrifically horrifying as that sounds, what if that's how it went down? I mean, I'm just throwing shit at the wall by this point. I don't know who this gentleman is or Peter Bergman, whatever his name is. I don't know who this gentleman is or what he is. I'm not a crime solver. You know what I mean? But I've also heard that when people are dying, they know when their time is coming. And if we're going back a little bit more realistic, could have been. You know what I mean? You never know.
Is unidentified. No family, no friends, no job, no fingerprints, no DNA samples. Nothing has popped up to indicate who this man was. There is no information and no findings on where he dumped his property in those little bags. There's no information about anything. It's as if he did not exist. But I truly believe that this was a dying man, a ghost among the living. And when you watch this CCTV footage, you kind of get that feeling that he knows he's just walking around his last few moments. It's as if his final wishes were to unburden himself from anything that tied him to this world. He wanted to fade away, he wanted to disappear, he wanted to go into the great beyond with no strings attached. He wanted to be forgotten, he wanted to fade away forever. And ironically, in doing that, he cemented himself to never be forgotten because of the way he did it. Life is full of those little eccentricities like that. When I began researching for this case, I came into it with the idea that this guy was some sort of like foreign spy or was some sort of like mobster, and he was trying to lay low and somebody put a hit out on him and they put.
Did I not say the same? Well, I didn't say mobster, but I said the man was in witness protection and somebody got his ass. That is what I said in the beginning. Me and this gentleman had the same assumption when we went into it. And I'm certain that the law probably also had the same assumption whenever they initially went into it and then realized, wait a minute, that dude looks like a white Gustavo Fring from Breaking Bad. Yeah, he does. He definitely does. I will say this, though, about him. The man is getting around pretty damn good for somebody who apparently has, like, bone tumors that are, like, growing and in excruciating pain. He stepped out of that door and lit that cigarette like nothing was wrong with him. He's walking in and out like nothing was wrong with him, waltzing around town, nothing wrong with him, eating like nothing's wrong with him. Maybe he just learned to live with it or he didn't give a shit, but he had no medicine in his system and he was dying. And that's just very strange, man. Now I'm going to be all obsessed with Peter Bergman, trying to figure out who he is and where he came from.
Put his body there, or he was somehow murdered. But after doing the research and watching all these documentaries about him, I believe he knew he was dying. I believe he knew he was in great pain, and he didn't want to cause anybody even a fraction of that. And who can blame him? When I die, I'd like my last moment to be watching the sunset over the ocean as I lay on the beach. There are several
Put your tinfoil hats on, boys. Here comes the theories.
other theories as to who this man might be that also deserve to be talked about, and that's what this section's for. The theory I've told you this entire time, that he was a terminally ill man who knew he was going to die, and he came here to do so, that's what I personally believe. Not that you care or ask, I'm a YouTuber, what do I know? One theory is that Peter Bergman is actually the missing Bitcoin founder, Satoshi Nakamoto. In 2008, Satoshi Nakamoto released the Bitcoin white paper, which of course changed the world. He's marked with being the first creator of the coin, and he actually owns 5% of all total Bitcoin, which totals to several billions of dollars worth. But sometime after 2009, Nakamoto vanished. He disappeared from the public eye completely, and friends and family and the public have no idea where he went, if he's still alive, what he's doing, or anything. When you compare what Nakamoto looks like to what Peter Bergman looks like, they kind of share some similarities. They're both older men, they both have tanner complexions, and they both kind of walk around.
Okay, that second one there that he showed where they're like kind of side by side or both wearing suits. Well, the old guy, Peter Bergman's not wearing a suit. They should have... Well, no, they said he sounded German, though. He said he was from, like, where was that? Austria or something? But they said he sounded like a German. Like, he sounded like he was a German. I feel like there's a large difference between an Asian accent and a German accent. That's it. That's the only thing about this theory that's kind of, I don't know. Unless he spent a lot of time in Germany and kind of picked up on that.
On the same, but obviously Nakamoto is Asian, right? And Peter Bergman was from Austria, or so he said, and he had some kind of German accent. So unless Nakamoto had a really killer German impression, I don't think these are the same people. Although the timelines do match up, and it would be very interesting that the founder of the currency that changed the world died alone with nothing to his name on a beach. I don't know. Some theorize that the man was some kind of German spy who either was excommunicated or fled the country. People who believe this theory cite the fact that he cut the tags off of his clothes and was knowledgeable enough to dump his items in places that would never be found. People say that that is spy training, or they're taught that, and that his behaviors match those who participate in espionage. Which, might be true. He did do some strange things to the viewers like us, but maybe he was trained as a spy, and that's why he did those things, and I don't know. Maybe the way he died was by consuming some untraceable poison from a tooth or something. It's unknown. Whatever the case is, whoever Peter Bergman is, I believe he truly wanted to fade away and leave this world with no ties to it. Whatever happened in his life, whatever led up to this sickness, whatever caused this pain, it didn't matter to him anymore. He wanted to be faceless.
Being a special agent, being trained to be that way, I mean, that does make sense. He got rid of all of his personal belongings, anything that could identify him. It's very strange. He cut the tags off all of his clothes so they could not be traced in any kind of way. He come in there with a false name. That makes sense. Everything that he did was of kind of like spy mannerisms. And if he did kill himself with some sort of untraceable poison, then they would be baffled as to why he just up and died. They wouldn't be able to figure it out why he just up and died, and it would make sense as to why he was able to pick the exact moment that he died. He watched his last sunset, took the poison, boom, gone. And a spy, obviously, if they're hired to kill people, they're gonna have poisons that are not traceable. And I know that sounds like a far-fetched kind of theory, but that theory alone probably makes more sense than, for one, anything else that he stated, anything else I've stated. I'm over to talk about the man being a time traveler. He's talking about the man being a Japanese Bitcoin guy. I don't know, dude.
He wanted to be nameless, and he went out doing just that. Nobody wants to die alone under chemotherapy in the hospital. He took a stand against death, and he made it wait until he accepted it. And if that was his intention, then he truly succeeded. Death comes for us all, but those who don't fear it never truly die. Thank you for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed this case. There's been a ton of
the unsolved case of the man who didn't exist. That is that's pretty wild, dude. I'm not gonna lie, like that was very interesting. It was very hard to continuously keep pausing it and just flapping my jaws because that was so interesting. I will 100% be looking more into Mr. Peter Bergman because that shit was dope. And I have another video here. I'll watch that in just a second because it's shorter than that one was. This right here is only about 15 minutes. Yeah, W video. That shit was hard. Shout out to Peter Bergman or whatever his name was. We're going to figure that out. I need an r/Peter Bergman for Reddit, which I'm sure they probably have one. I'm gonna grab me a soda pop real quick before we start this next one here. Hold on. Got me an old RC Cola. Shit. Told the doctors that these wasn't going nowhere, oh son. I had to have my RC. It says as long as I drunk them in moderation, though, I'd be all right. 100% though. W video. I appreciate that, Joshua. My chat is deader than fuck today. I'm coming to realize that Thursdays are a bad day, boys. Nuh-uh. Sorry, Poochie. Pookie. I'm watching the Hulk Hogan documentary. Hulkamania, brother. I like Hulk Hogan. I like Randy Savage too. I thought they was both pretty cool. You'd see them guys everywhere as when I was a kid, though. You're welcome, Pookie. Dude, you're banned. You are banned, dude. Banned bigger than fuck. So y'all gonna try to do your RP meeting before RP starts or no? Yeah, bet. Why does it take so long to pop up for you when I send a chat? I don't know, dude. Because the craziest thing is I have the Kick chat. That's the only chat that I use is Kick chat. I don't use like a secondary implemented chat or any of that stuff. I have like a Kick chat that I popped out and I have over here on my second monitor. So I'm watching like the actual chat. Like I could comment in the actual chat if I've done it a few times, you know. So I don't understand why it takes so long to pop up. I wish that it didn't though. Maybe I've got it like set some kind of way. Let me check the settings real quick. Maybe I got it set to like slow. Well, there's not a there is not a setting for that. Oh, son. Yeah, no, there's not a setting for that. So I don't know. We're gonna start our meeting at 7:40. Hell yeah. All right. Whoosh. This one here, dude. I thought this one would be cool too. Mysterious dark days in history. I did that wrong. Hold on. Mysterious dark days in history.
On the morning of May 19th, 1780, the folks of Boston, Massachusetts were going about their day. Everything seemed typical at first, but suddenly things began to change in the sky above. The sun slowly started to fade away, and the environment below got darker and darker and darker. One individual by the name of Jeremy Belknap described the event like this. He stated that the day began cloudy, but nothing atypical. But then around 10 or 11 o'clock, the clouds became yellow. In fact, the whole sky became yellow, which gave the landscape below a yellow tint. The yellow turned from an orange to a red to a brown until everything finally just became black. It had gotten so dark that it was essentially night. Candles were needed to do basic work. It was literally night during the day. And this darkness wasn't like a thunderstorm rolled in. It was a significant event, and it scared the living daylights literally out of, gosh, my puns need to stop. People thought for sure it was Judgment Day. Several people prayed all day once the darkness had started. And
yeah, because there's a thing in the Bible that talks about a 3 days of darkness and how like horrific it's supposed to be or something. An eclipse. I mean, it could have been an eclipse. I don't know. I don't even know if he even stated what year this was or where this took place at. I can't remember hearing him say any of that. It takes like a minute or two for you to see it. Damn, dude. I wish it was like instantaneous.
they wouldn't stop. And this darkness wasn't just over Boston, Massachusetts. It was over all of New England and even parts of Canada. In fact, up in Quebec, Canada, the same yellowy sky was seen, followed by darkness. There were even individuals in New Jersey who described seeing a strange yellow substance in the water. The darkness would last for the rest of the day into the night, and it wouldn't be until the next morning that the sun finally came out and everything seemed back to normal. This strange blackout event is now known as New England's Dark Day, and it's intrigued scientists, historians, and researchers for centuries. This strange dark days phenomenon didn't just occur once in New England in 1780. It's actually occurred several times throughout history. These strange dark events have heavily impacted the psyche of the local residents who witnessed them, some of them fearing for their lives. So what's up with these dark days? Like, what is going on? Why is it suddenly getting dark at noon? Well, that's what we're discussing in today's video. We'll be discussing several different dark day events. We'll be talking about their causes, we'll be talking about the different theories surrounding them, and we'll even discuss why some of them still can't be explained even to this day. Let's get into it.
Dude, figure it out. So it intrigues me to know that there's multiple different places on the planet that just randomly blacked out. And I mean, we could probably talk about it being an eclipse. Like we could maybe assume that it's an eclipse. But with the way that the moon travels, we have technology today to like track probably exactly where it was in 1780 at that time. And eclipses only last for so long. I love your username. Eclipses only last for so long. You know what I mean? So, eclipses only last for so long. So I don't think that it would fucking completely black out everything, until the next morning. Like that's very, very strange. Especially if it was not cloudy and everything was normal, and all of a sudden it just fucking light up the darkness.
So let's go back to New England's Dark Day of 1780. We know for a fact that this happened because there are eyewitnesses in the hundreds all over New England. Some areas were worse than others. Some areas it only got a little dark, but some areas it was literally dark as night. In the days following the darkness, people had all sorts of strange ideas on what occurred. Many of the experts of the day attributed the darkness to a volcanic eruption. There were also others who thought, hey, maybe there was a comet that for some reason caused this darkness. Of course, there were people who thought it was a form of judgment. They thought that God was angry. They thought that he was sending down his wrath, a warning perhaps. And they had good reason to believe this. There's actually
Yeah, because that shit back then in 1780, like the Bible was some serious like shit, dude. Like it wasn't no joking about it, no none of that. So if the sky just up and immediately went black, the first thing that would pop in your head is, oh my God, this is a biblical prophecy. Oh my God, we're cooked. Because you wouldn't know that 2 states over, it was still daylight. You would just assume the whole world was dark, which is weird to me that it only occurred in that area, that specific area. It's almost like there was something over top of them that they couldn't see that just blocked everything out.
a reference to dark days in the Bible. In Exodus chapter 10, verse 21 through 22, it states, "Then the Lord said to Moses, stretch out your hand toward heaven, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, darkness which may even be felt. So Moses stretched out his hand toward heaven, and there was thick darkness in all the land of Egypt for 3 days." One such believer in the biblical plague of darkness theory was First Lady John Adams' wife, Abigail Adams, who stated this: "About 8 o'clock in the evening, almost instantaneously, the heavens were covered with Egyptian darkness. Objects the nearest to you could not be discerned, though the moon was at her full. It continued till 12 at night, and then disappeared without either wind or rain. I have given you only my own observations. I hope some of our philosophical geniuses will endeavor to investigate so unusual an appearance. It was the most solemn appearance my eyes ever beheld, but the philosophical eye can look through and trust the ruler of the sky." That last part was kind of weird. So what happened over the skies of New England in 1780? Well, to figure out what happened, we're going to actually look at other historic dark days.
Bradley said it was an alien mothership covering the sun. Something wild was going on, boys. It's not like, it's not just a regular occurrence. You don't just fucking wake up, walk outside one day, and all of a sudden, it's like somebody cut the lights out. You know what I mean? That don't just happen like that.
In fact, we can go all the way back to ancient times. For example, during the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, according to the Gospels, the sun went black and a darkness covered the land. Throughout the Middle Ages, there were a few recorded events that described the stars coming out during the day. There's also been several recorded dark days over very specific areas. In fact, on March 19th, 1886, apparently a darkness came over the
Dude! We're talking about the stars coming out during the day. That's UFOs, player. I don't know what else. If you look at every single biblical painting of Jesus Christ at some point, or any kind of like biblical figure from back then, there's always a UFO in the background. I don't know if y'all have ever seen that or not. You look at them old ass oil paintings, there's always some kind of like alien ship just lurking up in the sky somewhere. Ocean. What's going on, Ocean?
Town of Oshkosh, Wisconsin. According to the La Crosse Daily Republican, a darkness had suddenly settled upon the city of Oshkosh, Wisconsin at 3 p.m. In only 5 minutes, the darkness was equivalent to that of midnight. Eyewitnesses claimed that this was a black mist, a dark black mist that slowly approached the city from the west, almost like a thunderstorm, but as it passed over the city, it got so dark that it was essentially midnight. And then within 10 minutes, this black mist continued on into other parts of Wisconsin, although all the reports seem to only come from Oshkosh. The dark moment over Oshkosh, Wisconsin is a pretty intriguing event. And when I said that it only lasted 10 minutes, I'm sure many of you had the same thought process as me and said, wait a second, I know exactly what caused that blackout event. It was a solar eclipse. In fact, solar eclipses could explain by far the majority of dark days recorded throughout history. A solar eclipse is, as I'm sure many of you are aware, when the moon goes in between the sun and the earth, it casts its shadow on the surface of the earth. And if you're within that shadow, the day becomes night. It becomes dark all around. The shadow then follows a very specific path on the earth's surface. Witnessing a solar eclipse is seriously one of the craziest events that I've ever seen. The sky goes dark and like literally stars and planets can come out, and the entire horizon kind of looks like a sunset. It's got that orange glow all around. There's a good reason why many people throughout history who witnessed solar eclipses literally thought the world was ending. So, problem solved. It was a solar eclipse.
I will say that solar eclipses, though, are fucking gorgeous. I'm sure many of you in here have witnessed solar eclipses, obviously. I remember the first time I ever seen one when it got to like complete totality or whatever the hell it is it's called. Like you could take your glasses off. Dude, when I took my glasses off and I looked up at the moon, that shit was gorgeous, dude. I was like, wow, man. I'm sitting there looking around and all of a sudden here comes daylight back again. I'm like, damn, why? I was sitting there thinking to myself, dude, if it constantly looked like this, I'd be all right with that. Do not take your glasses off. When it becomes complete totality, I thought you were allowed to. Because I took mine off, oh son. when it completely covers it, I thought you was allowed to take it off and look at it. I did. It didn't hurt me. But then again, though, I looked at it for a second and then looked around at everything else that was like a complete like 360 sunset. And then the day started coming back, which obviously by that point I knew like I can't look back up at it because now the sun's back out. But I'm talking about like when it completely covers it, I thought you was allowed to look. Someone do me a favor and look that up. Because I might be wrong. But I'm telling you, I thought you was allowed to like look when it was in complete totality.
Over Oshkosh, Wisconsin in 1886. Oh, wait. One problem. The thing about solar eclipses is we know exactly when they occurred and exactly when they will occur in the future. Because, you know, we got the orbits figured out. We got the math figured out. Somehow people know when this stuff is going to... They're highly predictable. And there definitely wasn't one over Oshkosh, Wisconsin on that date. It literally did not happen. I think the nearest one during that year was like over the ocean somewhere. One thing that is kind of interesting to think about, though, is a solar eclipse during a cloudy day. You don't want a cloudy day during a solar eclipse because that ruins the whole show. But if you lived throughout historic times, back before we knew about all this stuff, and it was a cloudy day, and all of a sudden it just got pitch black outside, you would be like, what on earth is going on? And for good reason. I mean, you wouldn't be able to see the sun, so it just got dark for like 5 minutes. And it's very likely that many...
Yes, according to Google, during complete totality, you can look at a solar eclipse with the naked eye. I thought so, dude. Like, I'm pretty certain that those glasses are only used to watch it like go over, but once it hits like complete totality, you could take the glasses off, look at it, and look around at everything around you. But as soon as you notice it, like, starting to pop out the other side, because it stays like that for, like, what, a minute? Like, roughly a minute that it's, like, complete totality. You can look at it for a minute, and then you have to put your glasses back on when it starts to move out of the way, because if not, it'll fucking damage your eyeballs and, like, burn your retinas or whatever.
Historic dark days were cloudy solar eclipses where they couldn't confirm it was a solar eclipse. The much more likely situation with Oshkosh, Wisconsin, is that it was probably a very unique storm system that moved through. All the people who witnessed this described that black mist. A mist is just a cloud. So a black cloud that came in from the west, like thunderstorms usually do in Wisconsin, and then went over the city and everything just got dark. So what I'm thinking is this was like a little isolated supercell thunderstorm that was somehow unique in its position that made it somehow darker than a typical thunderstorm. For example, on April 30th, 1971, there was a recorded dark day over Jacksonville, Florida, but this was easily explained. As darkness fell over Jacksonville, Florida on that day, the National Weather Service issued a tornado warning because there was a spontaneous supercell that popped up. Even when you talk about the Bridge Creek Moore tornado from May 3rd, 1999, if you look at the live coverage of that, it's pretty dark. It's pretty dark over the city. This occurred during the day when the sun was still pretty high up in the sky. And with that being said, I think that thunderstorms after solar eclipses could be another explanation for the majority of dark day events in recorded history. Here's the thing though. Solar eclipses and thunderstorms cannot explain every dark day event. Let's go back again to New England's dark day of 1780. The people who lived in New England, they had witnessed thunderstorms throughout their lives. They knew what a thunderstorm was like. They knew how dark it got during a thunderstorm. And this event was clearly different. People were freaking out. People were praying. Also, it lasted way too long to have been a thunderstorm. So there must have been something else going on. So to figure out the cause of this dark day, we must look at more eyewitness accounts to look for more clues. Some eyewitness accounts described rain that occurred during the event, and in this rain was kind of a dirty soot, almost like ash. Others described a smoke-like smell during the event.
Oh, hell no, dude. Well, I mean, what if it was like, I don't know, dude. What if it was some kind of, damn, my phone is going crazy. What if it was, I do not recommend. What did you do? Did you just look at it? Is that why you're like so like against looking at totality? And it hurts your eyes? If there was like black soot in the rain, then obviously it was some kind of ash cloud. Surely it was some kind of ash cloud. There's really no like other explanation. Like, and I mean, as far as like the Oshkosh city goes, if I was sitting there and all of a sudden I seen black mist coming at me, rolling across the ground, I don't think I'd just fucking sit there and wait for it to consume me. I mean, I probably wouldn't get far because I didn't have like, you know, cars and shit back then. All they had was like horse and buggy. But still, though, I'm not gonna just like chill out there and just wait for this black mist to just run all over me. I'm at least gonna go in the house and lock the doors and close the windows. Lasts up to 7.5 minutes. Jesus.
One account stated this: during the darkness of the day, a disagreeable smell was perceived, some resembling it to the smell proceeding from a chimney on fire, others to that which arises from swamps on fire. A like smell was perceived in the evening, united with that of sea salts. Sounds to me like a fire might play a role in all the darkness. One thing we should ask ourselves is, has there been any recent events that are similar to this event that occurred over New England in 1780? And the answer to that is yes. Many back in 1780 described a yellowish hue to the sky.
It was wildfires. It was wildfires, though, son. That's what it reminds me of. Because, like, whenever the Canadian wildfires are, like, taking place, dude, the skies and shit will have, like, this orange tint to them, and there'll be a lot of smoke. We've even had that shit reach all the way down here. They're like, oh, it's, you know, it's real smoky outside because of the Canadian forest fires. And the sky will be like all weirdly orange and shit like that. That's what it is, dude. It's just Canadian like wildfires. That's why it smells like fire. That's why like the rainwater had like soot in it. Yeah, dude. You know that's what I'm saying. Well, now the chat is reaching you faster. LOL. Well, hell yeah. I don't trust Google when it comes to looking at the sun. I don't care what's in front of it. LOL. There's two things I love doing: staring at the sun and going blind. Come on. Maybe it's because I was chatting while I was driving and didn't have good service either. And I'm at home now with Wi-Fi, and that's why it's way faster. I assume, I guarantee that's probably what it is. But thank you, though, for, you know, being out and about and still tuning into the show, man. That means a lot to me. Fuck yeah. But it's got to be Canadian, like, wildfires, dude. That's what I'm getting from it. Or some kind of wildfire, even if it wasn't in Canada. It was some kind of wildfire that was causing the orange hue in the sky, which is mixed with smoke. And then, you know, like the black ash takes over the sky. And then, boom, dude, when it rains, it's got, like, soot in it. And it smells like a chimney fire. That's, yeah, come on now. That's not biblical.
Before the event. And perhaps you may recall that time in recent history when New York City became super yellow. On June 7th, 2023, New York City and much of New England experienced a yellow hue throughout the entire sky. And we know exactly what caused this event. There were Canadian wildfires during this time, and the wind had blown that smoke high up into the atmosphere over New York City, and then sunlight went through and...
Damn, I'm good! In reality, I was just pointing out the obvious.
Scattered in a way to create a yellow hue. There was also the 2020 San Francisco Orange Skies Day. This was also caused by wildfires. Now, I know that this is not healthy. Like, you do not want this for your city. The breathing conditions are not good. But this is definitely a vibe. I mean, that's like some Blade Runner stuff. Kind of cool. Not healthy, not good, but kind of cool. So, during the dark day of June 19th, 1780, it's pretty clear that there was a wildfire atmospheric phenomenon going on. People were claiming there was a smoky smell in the atmosphere. People were talking about, like, dirty rain. There were the yellow skies. It's clearly a wildfire. But here's the thing, all right? New York City did not experience a dark day in 2023. Neither did San Francisco in 2020. So what happened in 1780 that made it so dark? So scientists actually believe that there were a few factors at play. You take New England's yellow sky event from only a few years back and then combine it with thick fog or perhaps even a thunderstorm, you can get a pretty substantial dark day.
Rain is dirty normally. Most time, yeah. That's why if you're someone who collects rainwater to drink it, they ask you to filter it. What put the fire out, though? If it was that big of a fire, that I can't answer, oh son. Unless it just, kind of, hell, I don't know, maybe ran into like some kind of bed of water and just kind of stopped abruptly, or it just burned up everything that it had and then it just kind of stopped. I don't know. That question I 100% cannot answer. Or if maybe a storm arose and put it out on its own. I don't know. That is a damn good question. That's probably a question. Hopefully that's something that he touches on in this when he's like, okay, yes, this is what the cause of it was, but how did it get put out? Maybe he'll touch on that. Hopefully he does. Wait, he probably means it looked dirty. It did. They said it looked like it had soot in it. Like, from the inside of a chimney, like that black soot that you get on your fingers, or like when a house burns or whatever. So, I mean, yeah, like, we now know the cause of it, but like Bradley said, we don't know what stopped it. So that would be the next biggest question as to what stopped the wildfire that was so damn big it could black out the sun with the ash that came off of it. Because that is pretty wild, dude.
Throughout centuries, people did still argue what really was the factor behind New England's dark day. Most experts thought it was a forest fire, or a series of forest fires that caused this event, but we wouldn't have proof until 2008. Here's the thing. Tree rings. Tree rings are dope because you can look at tree rings and figure out what happened during that specific year. If a tree has a lot of growth, there might have been a lot of rain, a lot of favorable conditions that year. If there was no growth, then there must have been something bad happening. And people at the University of Missouri were able to decipher that in 1780, something was not good for the trees. When they were investigating tree rings from a forest in Ontario, Canada, researchers noticed that there were strange fire scars that appeared in the year 1780. These fire scars were essentially the smoking gun evidence to prove that the dark day of 1780 was indeed caused by forest fires. At the end of the day, a dark day is essentially just a lack of transparency of the sun in the sky. So, when you have a cloudy day, well, it's a little bit darker because there's some stuff blocking the sun. But if you get more and more stuff in the atmosphere, the darker the sun gets. And eventually it becomes so dark that it's dark as night. It's just super rare for that occasion to occur. You have to have several factors. Wildfire smoke high up in the atmosphere with a fog rolling in at the same time. Perhaps a dust storm that gets lofted high up into the atmosphere, also creating a darkness below. So you might think that this has all been solved. We know what causes every dark day in recorded history. Well, there are still a few dark days that remain quite mysterious. One example came on June 2nd, 1802, when a sailor over the Pacific Ocean described dark clouds rolling in. These clouds became thicker and thicker till they were essentially black, and they blocked out the sun, creating a dark day. This sailor stated that the water was completely calm. There was no wind, there were no storms, everything seemed normal, except for the darkness. One very peculiar dark day occurred over Pernambuco, Brazil on April 11th, 1860. According to Strange Events researcher Charles Fort, around noon on a cloudless day, the sun essentially went black. The environment was so dark that the planet Venus could easily be seen. The darkness lasted for several minutes. You're probably thinking, solar eclipse, clearly it's a solar eclipse. Well, no. The two total solar eclipses for 1860 occurred on January 23rd and July 18th, not April 11th.
This one I can't give you an explanation for. There's no reason why the sun should just go and then go out, and then all of a sudden you can see Venus, you can see the stars. There's no clouds, there's no smells, there's no nothing, there's no solar eclipse in that time frame. It's like you said, we can track solar eclipse, we know the math, we know where it's at all times, constantly. Okay. It's very strange to know that the sun can just turn off in certain spots of the world, apparently. As far as the sailor goes, he said that dark clouds arose. So, I mean, even though it wasn't a storm, it could have been some kind of like smoke. Like maybe not necessarily a wildfire, but it could have been like a volcanic eruption, like a pretty good like distance away, you know? And then that caused like the blackout for him. And the water would maybe still be calm. I don't know. I don't know how like volcanic eruptions affect water. But like as far as being down there, I don't know, dude. Boys, I fucking hate Shreveport, Louisiana. The other day, a man's baby mama tried to leave him, and he shot her and murdered his 7 kids and their cousin. God damn. One time there was a huge forest fire in California, and coincidentally, people were making fun of God in California there and right after they had a massive forest fire. Yeah, well, I mean, that's usually what happens. God wrath comes down on people whenever they, want to talk that shit. But that's neither here nor there.
Could something else out in space somehow block the sun's light from reaching Earth? I mean, that's the only possible explanation. A comet or something? Probably not, but still a weird event for sure. Another very famous dark day occurred over the Yamal Peninsula on September 18th, 1938. Witnesses again described a yellow hue that slowly turned from brown to red to black. What's interesting about this event is that this darkness messed with the radio signals, so local meteorologists, local residents couldn't contact any authorities. Unlike New England's dark day in 1780, this event had no rain, it had no smell, it had no dust. It just got dark for a couple hours and then dissipated. So clearly the dark day phenomenon is a real thing. And you might be thinking, if it's a real thing, where are the recent examples? How come every example you're giving happened a long time ago, sometimes over 100 years? Well, you'd be in luck.
It's kind of like the Titanic. They said even God couldn't sink it, and then God sank it. You don't put his name in vain. I 100% agree with that statement. You should never, what's it called? You should never taunt the Lord, into saying, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. Because just like Joshua said, he's going to be like, you're going to have to whoop me, oh, son. And he's going to show you that he can absolutely do that, dude. Don't be fucking around where there don't need to be no fucking around.
Because a dark day actually occurred in 2018. On July 20th, 2018, a darkness surrounded several communities in Russia's Sakha region. Again, we're in Siberia. Weird things happen in Siberia. These are real pictures from the event. Now, during the summertime, it's pretty much always daylight this far north. So when it got super dark around noon, the residents in these communities started to freak out. According to one resident, around 11 a.m. on the 20th, the sky started to darken. It was as if a storm was approaching, but there was a yellowish tint. Then from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m., it went dark. Then, the sky began to brighten sharply. Further to the east, another resident claimed this. After lunch around 2 p.m., it began to slowly darken. There was a slight stuffiness. No wind, no sun, no light. As if life had stopped. Some residents were even joking that the apocalypse had come. We even have video of this event. Check it out.
Usually when I see the sky in a red state, my first assumption is Jesus when he sees his father's wrath. Oh, damn. My first assumption whenever I see a sky that's like red like that is like, okay, it's Northern Lights or whatever. Because my wife has photos of us standing outside, sky bright red, dude. Like she's hugging me or whatever, and like the sky behind us is just like beautifully bright red. And it was caused from solar flares, So whenever he said like, well, the sky was, red, and then all of a sudden it went dark, my first thing that come to my head was, oh, it's solar flares. But going black like that, solar flares don't do that, O'Shun. Off subject, but were you ever told, red sky at night, sailors delight, red sky in the morn, sailors be warned? Where do you think that originally came from? I've heard like a saying that's like similar to that, I believe. But I have no idea where that came from. I know it's about storms. But I mean, like, red sky though. And that's strange to me because usually when it's going to storm, like the sky's like kind of like got like a gray hue, you know. You know what I mean? Like, wouldn't it make more sense if it was like, you know, black at night, sailor's delight, gray sky in the morn, sailors be warned, you know, like something like that? Because like the sky's usually like a grayish hue whenever it's when it's finna get down, ocean. Now I don't know what that looks like on the ocean because I've never been on the ocean. I've never even seen the ocean in person, so I don't know, dude. I've been all over the place too, and still ain't never seen the ocean.
Oui, maman.
Thankfully, this occurred in 2018 in an area where we have satellite technology, so we can actually scope out the area to see what happened. Right here, you're looking at satellite imagery from that day, and this right here, this red dot, is the location of where a lot of these sightings occurred. What do you see? Well, there's definitely smoke, definitely wildfire smoke, but you also see a lot of clouds high in the sky. So likely what happened is multiple factors were at play. You probably had some of these clouds mixed in with the wildfire smoke, creating just a uniquely dense atmosphere, therefore creating the dark day. Dark days are definitely one of the eerier natural phenomenons, and in some ways they're still quite perplexing. The idea of a sudden darkness plaguing a city sounds like it's out of a fiction novel, and that's why dark days are so intriguing to so many. But hopefully you have no dark days in your future. Hopefully your future is bright and sunny. And with that said, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Hell yeah. Swiggle Studios W video. I was locked in there. I probably should have talked a little bit more through that, but I was too locked in. Trying to figure out why there was like random points on this earth where the sun just decided to be like, fuck you. I've swam in the Gulf and the Atlantic Ocean. At least I think Atlantic is beside Florida. I looked it up and it says ancient folklore with roots in the Bible, Matthew 16:2 through 3, dating back over 2,000 years. I kind of, all right, so I like this content. I do like this content. I like reviewing these weird things because I feel like it gives us more like conversational value for the future with stuff like this. But it's obvious though that like now, I mean, we know, obviously, we know that dark days come from wildfires. That's what it is. There is a spot in the Bible, though, that does say that it's going to happen. I'm just letting you know. It says that the sky will go black for 3 days. Or the sun will go dark for 3 days. 3 days of darkness, or something like that. It is a rule of thumb based on atmospheric scattering of light, accurate in mid, weather moves west to east. In all reality, it probably wasn't as dark as they say. They was just probably scared. Yeah. Yeah, I imagine so. I imagine they was just freaking themselves out. It was like, oh my fucking God, we're all going to die. We ain't never getting out of this, boys. Probably pacing around, acting ridiculous. Hell yeah, though. I didn't think that we would actually get to watch 2 of those videos. Because every time like I find them, I try to find the ones that aren't like super long. Because I don't want to like bore you guys to death. Which those videos are extremely interesting. Both types of those videos were extremely interesting. But I don't know if that's like stuff that like y'all find interested or not. I do. personally. Like the man with no DNA, like that's interesting as hell to me. Why? You know, I got a lot of like questions for that. The sky going dark, yeah, I want to know why. Why did that happen? Like a modern day fucking what are them dudes called? Who used to sit around and just like think constantly. I'm very opinionated, so I love vids like that. Good, dude. Because YouTube said for us to try them for the next, I think they said 30 days. So try them for the next 30 days and see if it increases growth. And if that's a fact, if it does increase growth, then we'll probably lean more into like those style videos because I like them too. I have a lot of why questions, and I'm also very opinionated, and I would love to have y'all's opinions in them videos when we're watching them together and figure out what's going on. Really gets my mind going and my ADHD kicks in, or my ADD kicks in. It increases my growth. Oh, hell no. Whoa! I kept it PG, chat. Yeah, he did. He kept it PG. That's an insane statement. I need to get a shirt that says that. Like a shirt that just has it on it that says, I make insane statements. I meant my intellectual growth, you pervs. Let me see a raise of hands for whoever believes that. I've kind of thought about like making my own YouTube videos too. That's like stuff like that, you know, where it's recorded and it's not like live streamed. It's like recorded where I'm sitting here like talking about it and stuff. But at the same time though, I like interacting with y'all and I like having y'all's opinions too because it gives me more to talk about during the videos. And that's why I kind of stick to the content that I'm doing now because if I were to move over to that stuff, I probably wouldn't live stream very often, and I don't like the thought of that because I would be so wrapped up in like writing those videos and trying to get all the assets for them and get them recorded that I would just rather sit here and live stream with y'all, watch those videos, and then have conversations about them because we are a commentary channel anyway. We're a commentary channel. We talk. That's what we do. That's what people come to the YouTube channel for anyways, to watch is just us talk. So it's just the subject that we're talking about is basically what YouTube was trying to imply to me is like these are the subjects that you and your chat need to have conversations about that will do well within our analytics. So that's a cool thought, you know. Bradley raised his hand. Josh disagreed. Bradley, you said you're playing RP Friday, so you didn't have to worry about getting up Saturday? Sick bastard. No one asked you, Josh. Yes, sir. Hell yeah. Michael asked me, numb nuts. The fuck? There's a hair on me, dude. I thought something was crawling on me. Scared the fuck out of me. I said, shh, no talkie. Couldn't help myself. You keep that to yourself. Sleep over at my new house. We're eating potted meat, drinking RC, and hunting Bigfoot and ghosts. That would be dope as fuck. Don't you tell nobody what we do, okay, Papa? Keep it between us. That would be dope. Do I look like a real boy, Papa? Do you love me, Papa? Yes, I love you. Now go give me a beer. That sounds like a terrible life. Don't it? Oh, apparently they put up posters of me and RP that says FBI wanted. Server is having trouble, so Meat Canyon sends shivers down my spine. What do you mean the server's having trouble? What does that mean, O'Shun? Is there going to be no RP tonight? Keeps crashing, everyone. Damn, ma. Blasphemy. There will be RP. Well, god damn. Shame on you. Shame on your cow. What the fuck? In the meantime, we can watch Bobby Possum Cod's Possum Oats. Bobby Possum Cod. I feel like that dude would get me kicked off kick. I'll be honest with you. Some of the wild shit he says, dude, I'm surprised they even let him on YouTube. What in the cornbread fuck is that? He's this dude, man, that does like skits. He got like real popular off of them. He's funny, man. He's a little wild, but he's funny. He used to have a show called like The Damn Show, or was like on a show called The Damn Show or something like that. But he does like a bunch of like skits where he plays like this redneck dude. And obviously he sells Heisenberg stuff, and he's always doing like weird things to a dude that pretends to be his wife. And, I mean, it is pretty funny, but at the same time though, it's very outlandish. Yeah, there you go. That's a good word for it. Very outlandish type of human being. Bradley was so offended earlier when we was talking about totality that it was unreal. Papa fixed it. Good boy. All right. So are we good to jump in there now, or is it doing a reset? Yeah, because he does say some outlandish shit. Y'all can get in. Bet. Here we go, son. Maybe it won't do to me what it did to me last night. What it did to me last night was freaking unreal, dude. The infuriation was real last night. Today marks 10 years since my dad died. Not to be depressing. I'm sorry to hear that, man. You're not being depressing, dude. Like I said, we're family around here. We're allowed to talk about stuff like that. We did not get to do our meeting, by the way. Damn. I will do a small one for the warrants. Tell them, like I said, though, tell them don't go just looking for me. And if they see me, you better approach me with caution. Did Michael got a warrant? I do. I 100% do. For what? Winners, tell them what my warrant's for. If it'll let you say it in the chat. When does Michael not have a warrant? No, it's nothing to do with anything like that. And I ain't touched nobody either. It's oh, it would be TOS. Oh, okay. Whoosh. Hell yeah. The default character I hate, dude. I hate how he's dressed. Everything about him, dude, I hate. Dude. Dude. TOS means terms of service. Dude. Oh, my controller's been doing that, dude, but it infuriates the hell out of me. It means, like, so if he explained what it was in chat, that the moderation, like the AI moderation, might be like, hey, you can't say that. You can't do that. And it could reflect against me. Dude, I turned this paint to worn, and it's still not worn paint. And I know it's the right vehicle, dude. I guess it wasn't. Because that's the paint that's worn. Don't look very worn though, O'Shun. That looks right. That looks exactly how it should. Which is a whole lot cooler. Well, goddamn, the fuck did you do? I'm sure you'll hear whenever they come to arrest me for it, or somebody inevitably pulls me over and goes, hey, you know, this is what it's coming up. No, that's Casey. Oh my god, dude. All right. Michael, when he found out about Casey's orc massage parlor. Yeah, basically, dude. Yeah, because he was mad because Casey was holding out on him. No, hell no. I'll be right back, dude. I gotta go piss. Just looked up orc massage and goddamn, it's weird. Yeah, yeah. Definitely strange, oh son. What's up, brother? What's going on, man? I'm just sitting here waiting on all them to get done with their meeting. I just dropped the new car off with the woman. What, hell yeah? What'd you get? Are you going to revive your cop character at all, or not a thing? Or not your thing? You talking to me? Fucking gooner, good lord. I didn't technically have a cop character. I was literally playing this character. I was just dressed in a cop outfit. Katie CTS. What's in this house? I've never been in this house. I put pics in Discord. Does Casey really play that game? He has actually played that game. I'll check out the pictures in the Discord. A Cadillac, Michael. What did I say? Did I not say caddy? Look at this house, dude. What are they reading? You said Katie. Oh. But anyway, I'll check out the pictures in Discord after I'm done with the stream. This people's cutting up. Pineapple, kiwi, lemon, orange, zucchini, or cucumber. Bathroom. This might be. Well, no, there's not two bedrooms in here. It's just one. There's a master bathroom. I was going to say, this might be where, like, the Cadburys need to live, but it's only got one bedroom. Plus, I don't think they would have random shit like that in their house. And who the hell are these people? Hope more sieves get in. Well, you spelt it Katie when you should have spelt it Caddy. A woman's going to drive it until I get her bug fixed. Then it's mine. Hell yeah. Joshua Faircloth has watched this channel for 4 days, 17 hours, and 10 minutes. He is locked in. I said caddy. Wow. Where's Casey at, dude? How come he's not in here? Is he at work? See what's inside this house. So apparently I can go in all these houses. Most of them, anyway. I wonder if this is one of the ones that can be entered. I'll be on in a few. I'm going to eat right quick. Give us your loudest wow. Oh, okay. Hold on here. We'll step back out, and then we'll try it again. Because it looks big in here. Damn it. Oh, there's a fucking tree in here. Oh, this house don't work. It is definitely a big house, though. Uh-oh. You almost got trapped.
Hey, pussy. Fuck your mother.
You know what else is big? Oh, hell no. My wife's forehead. Damn it, boy. Dude. These houses are not. Can't do nothing in these houses. I'm gonna go to those back there too and check them out. Gotcha, bitch! Damn. Well, nice houses though, Sean. Bathroom is big as hell. Two bath. It's got an office. Shit, dude. You know what else is big? Certainly not my will to live. Can't get jiggy with the checkered floors. Oh. Let's just say super small house with not a whole lot going on. It's got a big ass yard though, I will say that.
Good. I just conceived my own set of astrological principles.
I guess I was just in their house and they didn't even know it. We should probably start locking their doors. If I could enter that, I would live in that. But I can't enter there.
Last night, awesome.
Fuck's going on with that tree, dude? It's been spray painted? Blue kitchen. Ugh. Scoomy. That's motherfucker way too nice on the inside. What is that? Xbox? They still got a home phone? Who has a home phone? Bedroom. Back door in my bedroom. Hell no. Their house? You mean our house? It's too elegant. We need something a little bit more white trash. Right there is where the... I'm pretty sure it's their house. That might be where the Cadburys live, but... No, the Cadburys live in that one. So this one here is different. Where's the TV? Yo. Lava lamp? It's pretty cool. Oh, there it is. It's shitty. Random table. Bathroom. One bedroom. It must be in the rich parts of Sandy Shores. I'm driving around looking for like the most like trashy looking houses, but I think my house that I already chose is the trashiest of the trash. That's where the Cadburys live. Is that Sandy Shores? Yeah. It's just a different map pack for it. A different model layout. Damn it, boy. And you can't go in none of these trailers, I don't think. This one here, you can't go in this one.
Immigrants everywhere you look.
No, you can't go in there. And whatever the fuck this is, you can't go in this either, I don't think. Yeah, no. Nope. What about this house, dude? You can go in this one? I like that. Oh, I really like that.
You must have seen those blimps last night. Israeli design for sure.
You said it.
Damn it. That house comes with a gaming PC with a streaming setup, LOL. That's what it looked like.
The government in this state is fucked.
Whatever.
If only there was a bed in here. Oh, there is. Well, one that's not half rolled up that I can actually sleep on. I'm getting everything set up now. All right. You can can go in those houses, but those houses don't look no better than the one that I already live in. So I live in this one here. Where is everybody? Well, all the LEO, like all the law and stuff's all having a meeting right now. They was gonna have it earlier, but the server kept crashing, so I had to wait it out. I chose this house specifically because it didn't have a bed. What do they have meetings for? They have meetings over like who has warrants, what they did, whether or not to approach that person, kind of like what kind of quotas they're trying to achieve, what rules need to be enforced. I don't know. It's a bunch of different stuff that the LEO does. I primarily stay away from it. So like IRL roll call. Yeah, pretty much. Because now that there's a bunch of law enforcement on, they kind of have to have these type of meetings. Because you won't never be able to tell everybody all at once.
Oh, hi. Hello.
Big Paulie's classic cars. Oh shit. I didn't know I could even go in this place. What the hell is this? Barber shop. Whoa, what the fuck? Stay away from that fucking thing, whatever that is. I'm on my way. Hell yeah. Whatever the fuck that was. Finally got off orc massage, I see. Oh, damn. Wonder how come nobody owns this yet?
I
It's
could
like
use
a-
fucking beer.
Whatever. Do you want me to get the law on you?
Had
You son of a bitch! Oh!
Fuck you, Grandma.
Oh! Ah!
Where's Lightning McQueen? Who's that? Somebody from the show Cars? There's a lot of stuff in this town I've never, like this trailer park here, I've never even been to this trailer park. I don't know if any of these like houses are accessible or anything. Like I've drove past this trailer park 1,000 times. I've never been here. Nope. Ain't going that. I can go inside this dude's chicken coop. Or whatever the hell that is. Damn it, dude. I wish there was just like some real like hardcore like trashy models that you could live in.
What's up? This state's been taken over by fucking immigrants. It sucks.
Check Stab City. I don't think you can enter any of those houses either. I was really hoping that one of these trailers was accessible, because this is like the perfect area for my character to live in, especially something like this. Damn it. Oh, whoa. The lights came on. I ain't never watched that happen.
I've got everything boxed.
Why did that guy sound like Eminem? I don't know. Ports. Oh, what the hell? What is this, dude? Oh. Why is it so small? On our way out. They are coming, by the way. No stream sniping. How you doing, old timer? I will be. You better not be, dude. In the dirtiest depths of the trailer park. Casey got in here earlier and said he was on his way. He can't sit down while he's got this in his mouth. Oh, I guess he can. So we're going to have to get it figured out because the law is looking for your boy. And I don't know how that's going to turn out. I know that they can't metagame. They can't stream snipe me, so. They're not going to just look here just to look here. That's not. They're going to go to, like, place of business, my house, shit like that. All right, boys, running from the law. Lock in. Something of that sort will probably happen, yes. Let's just say you got a lot of charges. Oh. Winners, I want them read off to me when I'm arrested, by the way. For stream. If you don't care. I'ma come get you, and I will. Do not come get me. Michael's definitely locked in. He's smoking a cigarette and drinking RC. Did you tell them to proceed with caution? I bet that cigarette gives that RC a stout taste. It does. Man gave it 3 hours before telling the doctor to fuck himself. And yes, I did. No, dude, no. The doctor's gonna give me some of those nicotine patches. Slap one on my arm or whatever. Well, I'll fucking chill out. Waiting on, like, Casey, dude. I don't know where he is. There's no chance of a flashbang in a clear sky. It's unfair advantages to criminals if we have to have flashbang in clear skies. I'm over here hanging out with Uncle Elroy. I don't know if they do or not. I've never had one. Apparently, what they do is they just, you know, stop me from wanting one. And obviously, I'm supposed to, like, chew gum and do stuff like that. And then they tell me they teach me some kind of, like, exercises to keep me from getting so, like, frustrated whenever I feel like I need one real bad. Just don't want to be one of those guys that, even though I'm off of them for like a year, still think about them every day. That sucks. So I am officially on the run as of right now. I'm just kind of hanging out, creeping. feel like it's my safest bet. Here, hang on. I'm too out of shape to run. I might have to leave town. I'm being honest with you. Might come to that point where I'll just have to fucking get out of town, oh son. Winters, did you also brief them on Casey? Michael, in case nobody told you today, you're beautiful. So are you, Joshua. Gorgeous, oh son. I mean, like, drop dead gorgeous. Oh, you too, brother. Oh, hell no. I said, oh, hell yes. All right. Waiting to see when Casey and them gonna pop in here. Thought that was law enforcement. Thought that was law enforcement that popped in and scared me a little bit. I like how this gate's locked and you can't walk through it. I think that's why I chose this specific area to be the person that like hides out at it. What the fuck was that? I successfully made it through the night. Well, this comes the time of the night where chat has officially died. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all for coming here, hanging out with me, watching the unsolved mysteries, the badass fucking Dark Knights and whatever it was. Don't pawn anything that don't belong to you. Don't microwave metal. And make sure you sign up on food stamps while you still can. And I will see y'all tomorrow, boys. Wow.